Hello, this is Lady Boulay, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your thumbs up, and thank you for your comments. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. And yes, we are commanded to love one another, whether we want to or not, or whether we agree with each other or not. Now, I'm not one to meddle into Asians' business because, for the most part, they don't meddle into our business. Once in a while, somebody will say something. And then we have Amy Chen. I think her name is Amy Chen. And she really tries to be a voice of reason and a voice of fairness when she talks about Black American issues. But for the most part, the Asians mind their business. So we usually give them the same respect. We mind our business and let them do their thing and we do ours. But now, Asians have been coming across my For You page on TikTok for the last few weeks, and they are raising hell about one thing or another. The Asians were the ones that called out the so-called copper-colored indigenous people and told them they were from Siberia. I didn't know that, but the Asians stayed with that until some of the indigenous people had to acknowledge that, yes, they did come from Siberia. So once in a while, stuff like that will come across the page that's interesting or amusing, and I'll listen to it, but I don't get in it. And I'm not going to get in this. But I found this so interesting that I thought y'all might or might not want to hear this. I think it would be interesting for you to hear this Asian woman going off on Asians. And most of the time it is Asians going off on Asians because they've had enough of the model minority thing. Because according to many of them, especially young Asians, it hasn't gotten them anywhere. But I'm going to let her tell it.
To the Asians that are still bending over backwards for white acceptance, what has it gotten you? You guys got rid of affirmative action, and now we are not getting into top universities at the same rate that we used to, but when affirmative action was still a thing. Our elders were getting beat up in the streets during COVID. Did you having a white husband stop that from happening to your mom? Some of y'all made that shitty fusion cuisine and put strawberry in matcha, and now the white people really like it. And our food costs way too much. There's a matcha shortage. The colonizers are looking at ube now. They're trying to bulldoze Chinatowns across the nation. And your white husband is still going to cheat on you when you have a baby and he finds a younger Asian woman. Your kid still doesn't have blue eyes. Your kid still has brown hair. What has it gotten you? What has this house servant mentality gotten you, gotten your family, gotten your community? I get that you feel better than other Asian women. I get that you feel like you're prettier, smarter, more accepted than Asian women like me who don't choose to do those things. But you're not even getting paid for waiting around in H-Mart waiting to help a white person find Asian groceries. Please move out of the way. I'm trying to get my chicken feet here. Oh yeah. And what has voting for Trump personally done for you?
I would call that a rant. She sounds like somebody that's pissed off. She's sick and tired of Asians thinking that proximity to whiteness is going to get them somewhere. At least that's what I'm reading into this. And what's so interesting is that the Asians are the original model minorities based on what white people say. And the reality is Asians get kicked out of foreign countries less frequently than anybody. And I'm talking about the Asians, like these Asians, the Chinese, the Koreans, the Japanese, because they don't make waves. They really do just come in and bury their heads in the sand and go on about their business. They don't cause any problems. We haven't had a problem like what's going on up there with the Somalis, what goes on with the Haitians. We haven't had a problem like that with the Asians. And it's not that they're perfect either. They just move differently. They don't make a spectacle of themselves. I have mentioned this before. When I taught a middle school in suburban Atlanta, I had it was like an international school. We had children from everywhere. So in my classroom, I had just a lot of diverse students. And one day they were just having a conversation and talking about the features of their community. And naturally, Black children had a lot to say. White kids didn't have very much to say. The children really didn't have that much to say. But the Asian children, typical of them, they were the quietest of all. And one of the Black children said, well, they don't have any problems. The Asians don't have any problems. There's no crime in Chinatown. But those Asian children roared back and said, there's plenty crime in Chinatown. So they doing everything that everybody else is doing, but they're sneaky and they're keeping quiet about it and they know when to stop. Unlike the Somalis, they know when to quit. So the Asians are the original model minorities. But now who do you see now running around calling themselves model minorities? Africans. And nobody calls Africans model minorities. But they had decided that they're going to try to latch on to that term. But I do believe that Asians are starting to see something that we haven't seen in them before. They're starting to see that either you're white or you're not. You can't be almost white. You have to be white enough that you can fool white people. And you have to distance yourself from whatever relatives or friends or whatever community you came from that's not white if you're trying to pass. Because otherwise, you're going to get called out and then you're going to be told that you're not white and then your feelings are going to be hurt. Now, in this video, the woman specifically called out Asian women married to white men. According to the Pew Research Center, Asian women intermarry at higher rates than women in other racial groups. They have historically had the highest rates of interracial marriage, and who they're marrying the most are, drum roll please, white men. An Asian woman wrote on this content creator's page, as an Asian woman, I find white men aren't attractive, but majority of people from my country disagree with that idea. I think I got this idea from living in America for a long time by myself, and I got racial discrimination. Okay, so she said the majority of her people disagree that white men aren't attractive. In other words, they think white men are attractive. And this is what the content creator said in response.
That is very true. I know a lot of Asian women are just like, they're so racist against. They're just like, I don't want to deal with these white men anymore. Like, you guys are just too racist and too mean. Anyways, common people, if you know what I mean.
So what I hear from the Asians now is saying that they want some self-respect. They've been watching us for the last 100 years at least. The Asians have. And they realize that you can survive in this country and you can do okay in this country without selling your soul and giving up your self-respect to try to be closer to white people, because in the end, you're still not really going to be accepted. And as she just said, you're still not going to have blonde hair and you're still not going to have blue eyes. So what's the point? Anyway, y'all, I thought this was interesting, and that is why I brought this to you. But let me know what you think about this video and what you think about the Asian people trying to wake up at this late date. Let me know. Thanks for listening, and have a great day.